What is up? My name is Matt. Welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Grind, episode 45, where every Thursday night I come onto YouTube and I sharpen something on the bench at the American Edge, which is my sharpening business. And there's a lot of options tonight. It's actually a little overwhelming, and I'm looking at them, and I kind of just want to tell you how much stuff is on the bench. I have a katana, like no joke, like I've been doing a bunch of small scale restoration work for a collector, and we've made it up to a katana, which is sweet. A grandfather dropped off a knife that he's making for his grandson for hunting season, who's going out hunting soon, and he asked me to put an edge on it, so I've been working on that. I have kitchen knives, I have a restaurant, clipper blades, some other kitchen knives and scissors that are ready to go back. A machete I need to do, a set of kitchen knives. I have a thing with one restaurant, so I have those to cycle through. I have some chisels and a plane iron, another set of kitchen knives, another set of kitchen knives, a set of dental scissors, another set of kitchen knives, a set of 2 hunting knives, and actually this is good, I'll get to that in 1 second, and I have some pole saws, both with the cutters and then one with a saw. I wasn't going to do the saw, but I noticed when I got to look at it that the saw is designed so that it could actually take a chainsaw file. So I might actually do that saw. But we're not going to do any of them tonight. And that's what's going to be weird, because I have been using my everyday carry knife a lot at work lately. I've been doing, I had to make some dock lines for the boat. So I'm splicing and doing other stuff with my knife. I need to touch up my knife. And I wanted to show you tonight two things. One is like a tool that you can use for a quick touch up. And then also just kind of a test to see whether or not I'm any good at it. Because I would be inclined to just put my EDC back onto the Edge Pro. But I wanted to try this tool out. So I'm going to show you all about that in 1 minute. But first, let's talk about the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, because that is where we are building a community of people who are starting sharpening business and getting a bench flush with stuff that they're going to turn into dollars. And it's been a lot of fun. So if you want to learn about that, both sharpening and then also monetizing the skill of sharpening in the form of a business to serve your community, then please check out guildofsharpeners.org. And I wrote some stuff down because there's so much going on and it's so fun, and I want to tell you about it. So first off, one about me is Doug has done some research into sourcing honing rods, and I have done the work to finally become a reseller of the honing rod that I like the most. So stay tuned for more of that down the line. This is something where I would like to make it available to my customers, my sharpening customers. The honing rod, in addition to educating people on proper knife care. Actually, Vance had a really genuine comment about that. Is this something that nobody teaches? And really, until we engage in that, like I didn't know it either until I started learning more about knives. And that was way too late in life from my own perspective. So I'd like to try to offer the world and individually, like communities, the opportunity to learn how to take care of their knives. Knife pride and knife care, like it's a big thing. And anyway, I could keep going. Okay, Jim got some straight razors in. This was good. This was a conversthat he had about sharpening, then turned into him doing some straight razors that go back in time, a generation or more in time. So it was a great opportunity to draw attention to how great the search feature is in the Guild, because I have put out some content in the Guild on how to do straight razors, or how I do them. I'm still learning. But as I've learned, all that content is still applicable. So I love it. Like, that's, as the Guild continues to grow as time goes on, like it's just going to be this awesome searchable resource for sharpening all sorts of things. What I was going to do when I was going through my list was I got these hunting knives in, and I saw 2 blades that I didn't totally recognize. So I shot a pic out to the Guild, and Nate got back to me like that, saying that's what those are for, or at least that's what I use them for, right? Because like he's a user, he's a hunter. So I found that to be really valuable, and that's exactly what we're trying to build in the Guild. That support. So when you get that stuff in the door and you don't know what you're looking at, like, or if you have some questions around it, you have a community of people who care, And you can ask that question, right? Like that's the whole point. Yeah, Mike got his first customer, man. That was so exciting. Congratulations again, Mike. I'm excited for you. This is the new customer has the potential to be a rapid game changer in Mike's business. So I'm really excited about him. Jason shared some stuff about sharpening machete, both sharpening, but really the thing that got my attention was the way he cleaned the machetes. So I appreciate that. And if I have one right there that needs it, so I actually am going to be able to implement some of the things that he did on his machete and posted just the other day into the job that I'm going to do hopefully very soon. And then, oh, John, this actually hasn't come up a lot inside the guild, but I've been talking to John, and he is just dominating doing events. Like his business was like climbing, it was climbing, and then it went boing. And I'm really excited to finally like get a real good conversation with him, figure out where he's at, what it's done to his business, and yeah, it's just amazing. And then finally, when it slows down a little bit for him, hopefully he can backfill us in the guild on all the lessons that he has learned in doing like sharpening block parties. That's what he's got going on right now, which is amazing. Okay, there is more, but I'm going to cut the list right there. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk about sharpening. Let's talk about touching up your everyday carry knife. First, we should at least introduce what my everyday carry knife. This is the perfect neck knife offered by Carter Cutlery, not made by Murray Carter himself, but made by a Muteki, which is somebody who has moved through the process of certification at Carter Cutlery. And in this case, Ryan Cavallo, who is, his signature is the horseshoe. I am nothing but blown away by this knife. So I did subscribe, I bought into the propaganda of Murray Carter. I read his bladesmithing book in which he explains that his knives are the best. And in using one for a long time now, I will still say that I have not had a nicer knife, in my opinion, come across my bench. And that is a very personal thing, and I realize that people will not agree with that, and that's awesome. Like I would highly encourage everyone to pursue, save money, invest in the blade that is the perfect fit for you. This blade costs on the order of $330, and I use it frequently enough. I intend to have it for as long as I possibly can, so that price is very justified to me. One thing that came up in the conversation I had with the guys at Worksharp was that learning to like the communities that really could benefit from the tools that Worksharp offers, which we're going to talk about one here soon, are the hunters, because they use their knives in that way, and also the construction community, which is one that I hadn't thought of. But comparing this to a utility knife, where you get those flimsy razor blades and then throw them away, 1, 2, 3 a day. Or you could invest in a knife that's amazing and actually allow yourself to use it for the same application, which you can feel more confident in if you know how to restore the edge. And that's where we've gotten to on this knife. I do use it, and it is ready for a tune-up. Like I mentioned in the intro, I would probably go right to the Edge Pro, but I have used this a few times, and I'd like to get better at it, and I'd like to share how to use it with people, because I think it is a great way to empower people to easily, affordably, and pretty quickly touch up their knife. In my mind, a hunter mid-processing or dressing a deer in the woods, for example, could pull this out of their cargo pocket or their pack and touch their knife up, and not have to swap out those disposable blades in their hunting knife. And then they could then buy a knife that they're proud of. They could spend what is conceivably a large amount of money on a knife, something comparable to what they'd spend on their gun, which isn't not really, right? Like you can spend a lot more than $300, $400, $500 on a gun. Anyway, that's all I'll say. There's definitely a community, I think, for this tool, and it is one that I'm committed to gifting as much as I can. So I also want to improve my own proficiency on it. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk more specifically about the Work Sharp field sharpening system. Do a quick overview of this thing and then we'll dive into it. There are, this is the coarsest diamond plate on this side. These are magnetic and removable, and there's a small storage space in there. But it goes, there's a coarse diamond plate here, a finer one here. There is a ceramic rod here, both with grooves for fish hooks and also straight. There's also a leather strop on this side, and then another ceramic hone over here. They also include angle guides, a 20-degree angle guide over here, and they also include a 20-degree guide on the strop as well. So let's just take a look at how this is going to work with my EDC. They do say that they like the pull stroke. I think that would be fine, but I'm going to consider doing a push stroke, much like I would do on a strop. And actually, I want to start on the fine side because I don't think my knife is in terrible shape. But let's just draw that 20 for reference. I think I did this at like 15, so this should be relatively steep. Come back to check that. To see if then I like to just, I got a burr coming up, but not yet, not yet, not yet. You hear that? That's coarse. Let's see what the pull stroke is like. There it is. All right, got the burr there. I still really like the pull stroke. You probably get to where you're going faster with the push stroke, but okay, that's, yeah, right, like we're there. Maybe a little bit more work up here. Nope. Yep. That's it. I see a little bright spot up. I'm doing that side. That's where I was noticing the most wear was right up here too. But let's go over to the coarse side now. Checking for a burr. Still a little bit of work up there, but let's do a little bit of this. Not quite up here. It's good. Around here is where we're having the most. Just having a little trouble detecting the burr on up here. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Finishing stroke on the strop. Always pulling on the strop, never pushing. Okay, so now let us see if it cuts. Oh, one spot in there that's acting a little funny. That would put me back in business, I think. I should have done a cut test for you when I started. I think that's all right. I could, that took me probably a little longer than it should have. I think if I spent more time on this tool, I could get more proficient. The place I see this fitting into your place, your life, is for the touch-ups over the course of time. If you're really good, the point is to not let your knife get dull. You keep it sharp by touching it up frequently. And if you keep this in your truck or in your somewhere where you will be inclined to reach for it, then just whenever you're around, just touch your knife up. And then I would also say that if you don't have a, well, most of you guys are sharpening anyway, right? But yeah, like for other people, right? Like the place that I would say that the knife could get touched up like by a pro, like on a stone going through a whole sequence once a year, and then over the course of the year, like here's a good one, like right before hunting season, get your knives tuned up, get the bevels cut, get them all set to the right angles and everything, like get it totally squared away, and then over the course of the season, the hunting season, you keep this with you and you're touching your knife up as you're using it. That's so I just want to show you that. I think that's a good thing. This is going back in the sheath. She's ready to go back into duty. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the Cutter Cutlery Perfect Neck Knife, the Work Sharp field sharpening system. And let me know in the comments, what do you use to touch up your everyday carry knife? I'd like to know. And then before you go, if you could please do all those things, like hit the subscribe button, the bell, leave a comment, just say hi. And if you go down in the description, you'll see all sorts of ways to connect with me. Get those 21 reasons to start a sharpening business. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And be sure to buy an American Edge shirt to show a little support for the work that I'm doing in passing everything that I'm learning along the road onto the internet. So thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next week.